Week 9 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I look to sell this week. The first guy, Ryan McMahon of the Colorado Rockies. So McMahon, the last couple weeks here, he's starting to get going after early in the season. He didn't have anything going really for fantasy owners. On the year, 8 home runs, 31 RBIs, 28 runs scored, 4 stolen bases, a 253 batting average, and a 332 on base. But over the last couple weeks here for McMahon, 4 homers, 14 RBIs, a stolen base, 9 runs scored, a 356 batting average, and a 442 on base. So right now, McMahon, he's hitting for power. He's been one of the hottest hitters in fantasy baseball over the last week or two here, but his strikeout rate is still high. The numbers, they have been non-existent pretty much the whole season until the last couple weeks, like I mentioned here. And I don't just see it holding up here for McMahon. I know he's been on a power streak, and he's hitting for extra bases as well, but right now, while he's getting going, he's a guy who would pick up if he's on your waiver wire and flip him in a deal for a starting pitcher. And he does qualify at second and third base. May 26th versus the Mets, 1 for 3 with a homer. May 27th versus the Mets, 2 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. May 28th versus the Mets, 3 for 4, a homer, 5 RBIs, 3 runs scored. And May 29th at the Diamondbacks, 4 for 5 with a homer and 3 RBIs. So right now, pretty much most of his numbers have come in the last 4 or 5 ball games here for Ryan McMahon. And I don't see it holding up. I know last season he had a mediocre year with 20 and 67. And yes, he could get to that once again this season, but the batting average was still low at 246. And he didn't put the ball in play that much with 158 strikeouts for McMahon. So right now, while he's hot, especially the hottest hitter pretty much over the last week here, he's definitely a sell-high candidate this week. The next hitter is Jorge Soler of the Miami Marlins. So I know Soler 3-4 years ago hit 48 home runs with the Kansas City Royals. But right now, he's been on a tear, Soler, especially in the last month. He's hit 12 home runs on the season, 17 homers, 35 RBIs, 31 runs scored, a 254 average, and a 329 on base. So Soler, it definitely has power where he could hit up to 30 home runs. But right now, the pace he's on about a 55-60 home run pace is Jorge Soler. In the last 2 weeks alone, 8 home runs, 15 RBIs, 12 runs scored with a 291 average and a 350 on base. So he's never been known for the batting average, obviously, is Jorge Soler. And I just don't see him keeping it up right now like he has with a high batting average to go with the power. Yes, the power will be there, I believe, for Soler, but definitely not the batting average when it's all said and done this season. So right now, well, he's been on fire is for Soler the last month of the season. I think you could get a good hitter and a decent pitcher in a deal for him. May 25th at the Rockies, 3 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs. May 26th at the Angels, 1 for 5 with a homer in that one. May 27th at the Angels, 1 for 4 with a homer, 2 RBIs. May 28th at the Angels, 0 for 4. And May 30th versus the Padres, 0 for 3 in that ball game. So Soler, he's been on a tear, like I said. Had 5 home runs in a row with Soler. I just don't see him keeping it up. Yes, the power's legit, but everything else isn't going to follow for Soler. So right now, where he's at peak value, and you could get a great return for him, this would be the time to do it this week. The next guy is Josh Jung of the Texas Rangers. So Jung, he's having a solid year. One of the former top prospects for this Texas Ranger team over the last couple seasons. On the year for Jung, 12 home runs, 37 RBIs, 39 runs scored, a stolen base, a 283 average, and a 332 on base percentage. So right now, he's going out there showing power. Already almost 40 RBIs on the season for Jung. And over the last 2 weeks, one of the best hitters in all of fantasy baseball. 4 home runs, 12 RBIs, 13 runs scored, a 415 average, and a 489 on base. So obviously, I don't see that holding up for Jung. Last season, in a small sample size, he only hit 204 with 5 home runs. So he definitely could bring power. But I think right now, the batting average is fluky for Jung. He's not going to keep it up, especially over 400 over the last couple weeks here. So right now, while he's on hitting, tearing the cover off the baseball is Jung, he's a perfect sell-high candidate. May 24th at the Pirates, 2 for 4. May 26th at the Orioles, 3 for 5, 2 runs and RBI. May 27th at the Orioles, 1 for 4 with a run. May 28th at the Orioles, 1 for 3. May 29th at the Tigers, 1 for 3. And May 30th at the Tigers again, 3 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored. So right now he's playing good baseball. I think you can get a good starting pitcher in a deal, no doubt about it, for Jung this week. So right now, well, he's playing great. About the last 3-4 weeks he is Jung. He's a perfect sell-high hitter this week. Next guy is Bryson Scott of the Philadelphia Phillies. So Stott, we know, is versatile, second and shortstop. He qualifies in fantasy baseball. And this season, the numbers have been pretty decent. 5 home runs, 21 RBIs, 21 runs scored, 8 stolen bases, a .292 average, and a .329 on base. And he's a guy with a low strikeout rate. Is young right now. Only 38 strikeouts and 212 at-bats in the last couple weeks. We've been producing 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 9 runs scored, a .333 average, and a .385 on base. But right now, I think Stott's ceiling isn't all that great. Last season, 10, 49, and 12 stolen bases. I think this year, we could see about 50 RBIs, about 22, 25 stolen bases. I think we could see for Bryson Scott, but he's not a guy that pops off the page. And velo isn't all that great as well, so we know he's the table setter for the Philadelphia Phillies. We know he will score runs and steal some bases, but besides that, he's not going to bring much to fantasy owners. So right now, while he's hitting well over the last few weeks, he's a sell-high hitter. May 24th versus Diamondbacks, 3 for 5 a run. May 24th at the Braves, 1 for 5 a rib. May 26th at the Braves, 2 for 3, 2 runs, 3 stolen bases. May 27th at the Braves, 1 for 4. May 28th at the Braves, 1 for 4. May 30th at the New York Mets, 0 for 4. So right now, like I said, he's pretty much a singles hitter. Stolen bases and runs is what he's going to bring his start. And right now, he's a guy I would sell high this week in the 5th and final hitter. I looked to sell Francisco Alvarez of the New York Mets. So Francisco Alvarez was ranked the top prospect in Major League Baseball last season, and now he's got the starting job on lock. If he's been on a hot streak over the last few weeks here, is Alvarez on the season. 8 home runs, 19 RBIs, 14 runs scored at .269 average, and a .327 on base. So right now, 8 home runs already in only 108 at-bats here for Alvarez. In the last 2 weeks, he's really been on a tear. 5 homers, 13 RBIs, 7 runs scored at .364 average, and a .417 on base. I know Alvarez, like I said, highly touted prospect, putting up numbers so far this season, but he's pretty much hitting a home run every other game, it seems like, over the last couple weeks here. So right now, while he's producing, and catcher we know is one of the weakest positions, if not the weakest in fantasy baseball, he's a sell-high candidate is Alvarez. I think you could trade him and get a great starting pitcher in a deal, or even another bat and another position you would need, especially that he's a catcher. That helps as well to bump his value up. May 24th at the Cubs, 2 for 3 with a homer, 2 RBIs. May 25th at the Cubs, 2 for 5 a run. May 26th at the Rockies, 1 for 3. May 27th at the Rockies, 2 for 4 a homer, 3 RBIs. May 28th at the Rockies, 1 for 5 a homer, 3 RBIs. And May 30th versus the Phillies, 0 for 4. So right now, he was batting 9th for the majority of the season was Francisco Alvarez. In the last 2 ball games, he's batted 2nd for this Met team. And in that time right now, he's 1 for 9. So right now, he might be cooling off a little bit as Alvarez. But the power definitely seems legit. In every level in the minor leagues, he was a big power hitter and a decent batting average hitter as well. But right now, while he's been playing out of this world and possibly could be at peak value the way he's hitting right now, he's a guy who would sell high this week, and I think you get a good return, especially that he's a catcher. So that's a few hitters I look to sell and trade here in Week 9 of the fantasy baseball season.